What is up, you beautiful people? This is Gary Horne. This is the NWA. It's the show celebrating the past, present, future, history, legacy, and the tradition of the greatest pro wrestling entity of all time. Of course, we're talking about the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm here with Kyle Davis and Jedi Joe Galli, the grill master himself.
That's actually how he kills the food before he has to grill it.
That's how I get. I totally pulled my groin with that kick. I'm in a catastrophic amount of pain. Hi, everyone.
Oh my God, it's so good to be here, and I'm glad to be back. I just spent a week in NOLA scouting, and yeah, not anything.
Hey, Gary, did you know highest rated program we've ever had was last week? I wonder what was the difference. What was the?
Do you know deep down inside, not unlike Kyle, that is something I deeply worried about. Like I was just like, I feel like that's something I would worry about. That.
Hey, I mean, listen, if you need to work through your problems, I got to tell you, it's very hard to find a therapist that takes insurance. So I'm just saying, good luck.
Perfect. No Will, no Danny Dealz here today, but Dealz did hook us up with a streaming deal. That's actually streaming deals is the code. If you use it, it's 20% off at nationalwrestlingalliance.com.
What you can get? You can get this.
Hey, you get this.
Kyle's wearing.
I don't know if this one's still for sale. I'm wearing.
Oh yeah, that's up there.
Okay, so that one.
They got
that
bundles.
Still there.
They got this cool new bundle now with like $50, and it gets you like 3 random shirts and a whole bunch of other stuff. I think it's a really great deal. And you never know what you're going to get, but you know it's going to be something cool. But maybe it's something that, maybe it's not on the website anymore.
Maybe one item will have Danny Deal's musk on it. You never know. You could get the set of a deal.
That's awful. That's like
thanks.
Patchouli and Miller Lite. We don't want that.
It's a guy going through life. That's, aren't we all just doing that?
I guess I could let Danny Dealz tell you a little bit about it. He did send in a video, so we best not waste it. So here's Dealz. He did send this in before he left for the Smashing Pumpkins concert. I'm wondering if he got a deal on that too.
Hey, what's the gig? Danny Dealz, Daniel W. Dealz, Triple D, the Deal Machine, whatever you want to say, here at the Dealz house with the crew, of course, hanging out. Now, I don't want anybody to not watch the stream because the Deal Machine won't be there. So I've sent this video. Also, what the Deal Machine has done, something that Medusa would never do for you, is I've made a 20% discount code. It's only good for tonight, and it's just for the stream people. It's Streaming Deals, all caps, with a Z. 20% off just for tonight. I got the new Dealz Crazy Bundle going on. I've got these new shirts. I actually just talked to the printer. Should have them very shortly. The new hoodies, the new shirts, the orange one, the pink one that I made just for October. Something else that the Gorgon has never done. I did that on my own, so I won't be there. I'm going to see the boss tonight. I got my pen. Might make some signs. Hold it to him. I was playing a solo like Fire Medusa. Make Dealz GM, that kind of thing. No, I'm just playing. Of course, the Deal Machine has full all access because I am the Deal Man, right? Chach and Maddie, they might come too. Who knows? I'll be back next week.
Well, that quality was something lacking in there. It was weird. It was like
I think you put it through a filter.
Suki,
what do you think?
Can you put it through a filter? What was that about?
Dealz is always that way. He likes the retro vibe. I think is really the deal. So,
by the way, we're both just talking to our pets right now.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right, fair enough.
And speaking of pets, we'll make great pets because Perry Farrell is part of that Spirits on Fire tour. Jane's Addiction is rocking everything with Smashing Pumpkins. So, segue.
Yeah, it's dope.
Yeah, Joe, you were just there, right?
Oh yeah, I was up in Boston. Right. Yeah, it was really cool.
And Joe got caught stealing that meat. He shoved down his pants just like the music video from Jane's Addiction.
Why would I steal meat in my pants when there's already so much there, Kyle?
Sick bird! Guys, by the way, you're probably just going to get unfiltered version of how we are when we're just together. So watch out. It's about to get kind of interesting. Suki, it's okay. You have to hear this all day.
For once, right, Kyle?
Yeah.
It's going to get interesting.
It's always interesting, folks. Tune in. Don't tune out. I'm happy to be a part of this. I know that Gary's happy to be back here, and we are going to talk wrestling. It's not just going to be random.
What was your favorite part of New Orleans before we go any further? Because I know we're all going to go there November 12th and 13th for Hard Times and Revolution Rumble. But what would you recommend, Gary, as a person who was just in New Orleans? For maybe some of our fans are watching, maybe they're going to go a day early. What could we do? Get a beignet?
You can get a beignet. You get a cafe au lait and a beignet at Cafe du Monde.
Were you running around and people throwing beads at you?
So the thing about New Orleans is
tits.
the beads do come out on the weekends, so it's true. But really, they're meant for Mardi Gras. Like, beads are not supposed to be, and they're not currency there, despite how much you would think that. That's a tourist thing. So I guess with other tourists you could do it. You could go to Bourbon Street, but at times it smells and there's nobody actually from New Orleans there. And you know who is in New Orleans who could probably tell you better is Polka Dot Pam. She says I came to NOLA and never even tried to hang out with her. Well, you know, I did think about you, Pam, but A, I didn't want to bother you too much, and B, every time I saw anything you posted, you were wherever the Smashing Pumpkins were. So you were never in NOLA that I saw anything from. So that is why I didn't want to presume I should
would have hung out,
bug you. And so that was it.
We would have ate some crawfish.
Not with me.
Alligator.
I have intense social anxiety. I have a very hard time even leaving the house.
I ate at a really cool place called Turkey in the Wolf.
No, I've never had crawfish.
You've never had a crawfish?
Never. I don't even like. I've had shrimp before, and crawfish seems like a dirtier version of shrimp. And if I didn't like that, I'm not going to eat that.
Dirty shrimp.
Baby, that stuff isn't filth. I get it. You're going to make a nice boil. You're going to throw in some corn, some taters, some seasoning. No, not for me.
Sounds delicious.
And I grew up in Connecticut where there is seafood.
Hey,
for those that don't know,
crabs?
we are killing time. Kylan King.
Kyle's got crabs.
I've never had crabs, believe it or not. I keep well maintained and I watch who I go hang out with. Did have something that penicillin knocked out like that once. I think it was just a UTI, but that's beside the point, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk wrestling because that was a battle. With
this discussion brought to you by our sponsors at Manscaped, where you can use code NWA Pod to get 20% off. And
wait, is that real?
From Manscaped. Is that a shoe?
You know what? I haven't tried it in a little while, but I had them before I started coming over here. So yeah.
For 33, we keep on being told when we first started doing 33 with William Patrick Corrigan, which is available Tuesdays wherever you get your podcast talk and all the Smashing Pumpkins talk. We were told that I was going to have to do live ad reads, and I was super excited about it because I was going to do my own little version. And then they don't do that; they just add them in afterwards.
That's a bummer.
There's still time, Kyle. They might change their mind.
I think live.
Do I look like a guy that needs Blue Chew? You're damn right. I need to feel stronger than I am.
I am no podcast expert, but it does feel like live ad reads are the way to go at a podcast. Otherwise, I just skip through them.
We should just make them up.
Some people's podcasts, I think.
Billy would love it if I just started being like, and our sponsor, he'd be like, Kyle, that's not our sponsor. I'm like, Billy, let it happen.
Chuck asking, is this live? No, Chuck, this is pre-recorded.
Hold on.
Thank you for joining us.
It's going to blow his mind that you just told him it's pre-recording. We're acknowledging him. Right. It's like we knew. That's called a psychic twinkle. I knew you'd be here. Thanks for joining us. And also stay away from yellow school buses.
Bill O'Reilly style, baby. Do it live. Fuck it. We're doing it live.
I think other things other than doing it live, but that's beside the point.
That's like the most famous thing he's famous for.
Wild Art. No Danny this week. Maybe the void can get filled by reminding everyone what happened to Kyle Davis's.
Do we have it on here?
We don't. I should have brought it up because I know people are asked. I don't have that clip handy, so it just.
Hey, listen. Anyway. I can't help it that I'm punchable. Nick Aldis has no self-control.
Yeah. Axel wishes he had a podcast like us. Let me tell you something, Axel. Having a podcast is very hard. It's hard to ever get one. There's only, I think, something around 10,000 platforms that offer you an easy, free way to set up a podcast. So you just pretty much need to
2.2 million podcasts you can get just through Apple Podcasts right now. 2.2 million shows.
That's true.
Just find something you love, grab a microphone, talk about it, and see what happens.
You can do it. I think Anchor right now, free of charge.
It also helps if you are not camera ready. If you don't look the part, it doesn't matter as long as you've got a voice. Look at this. This guy, you don't want footage of him. Oh, and you don't want to hear that dude down there, even though we both make our living with our voices.
It is true.
And my face.
Yeah, you've got a great face. And let
the
me
face.
tell you, I was watching
And the
today
hat.
clips of you on the news from back in the day. You making donuts. I don't know why the host said it was an donut.
Oh my god, it was very weird.
That time you
my memory.
threatened to do something to somebody's mother in a mall. There's that great one
Yeah.
that was on Jimmy Kimmel of you talking about the
Yeah,
library
The
chairs.
chairs.
Chat, do you ever feel like we don't talk enough about wrestling, or is this what you're here for? You want to just hang out with like Kyle
Gary,
Davis and Joe Galli?
you're the one that runs the show. We're just here. You got to realize.
I wasn't.
what do
That
you want to
wasn't
talk
like
about wrestling?
me. That wasn't like a slight. I was just curious. Maybe
Was my
maybe
internet
people
crappy
do
right
love
now?
that.
My internet, I thought, was doing great.
What?
You were buggy for a second, but you're back now. I don't know.
Oh,
What's
that's
going
just me, man. I'm just falling apart. I'm just a buggy human being. I'm broken.
Oh, see, Chuck's
You're
drinking
gonna
a beer
start
and he
seeing me
loves
doing
watching.
this, broken Kyle.
All
All right, let's get to
Delete.
wrestling. What do you want to talk about, Gary? You got all the notes, you've got the reels, you've got the highlights, you've got the direction. Point us in the
there's so
true
much
north
stuff.
that is the National Wrestling Alliance.
Well, the important part that people do need to know is that, thank you, Pam, it's a good mix of wrestling and non-wrestling. Okay. So
She's just saying that so you'll feel better. She's actually going to just turn around, make that compliment into an insult because you
I
did not reach
100%
out to Nola.
trust Polka Dot Pam. If she says it, I believe she's got our best interests at heart. And so she's, that's just how I am. All right. So, no, Kylan King is going to be joining the show, or at least that's the word on the street. So we got her to look forward to.
She's tall, she's strong, she's aggressive, and she could end up being #1 contender for the NWA World Women's Championship at
Boy,
Hard
Bully
Times in
Ray
New
pulling
Orleans.
them strings, man. I got questions.
Listen, man, it's kind of nepotism. I mean, he trained her, and then he went to William Patrick Corrigan. He says, hey, she wasn't pinned in that four-way match that crowned Taya Valkyrie as the #1 contender. What up with that? I think maybe that should be something we discuss. Taya steps in, says, I don't want anybody to get in my way. I don't want anybody to question the legitimacy of my #1 contendership. Alas, William Patrick Corrigan, boom, we've got the match. NWA Power. If you've got fight, that's tomorrow night. If you don't, you got to wait till Friday. Also, don't read any spoilers after tomorrow night if you want to make it feel like it is live and in person on Friday.
Seems like people love the mix, so I do appreciate that. Guys, Scott Wildhour was talking about USA. That actually can move us into our one topic of discussion.
Thank you, Scott. You're now the co-host for today. Guide us. Just throw stuff in the chat and
Executive
we'll follow
producer.
you. Yep.
Yeah.
Executive producer.
Well, one part I enjoyed, besides seeing, of course, our United States Tag Team Champions, who will be in action at Hard Times 3, defending those tag team titles against the Spectaculars.
The angriest looking Chippendale I've ever seen in the background, except for that time
I think we lost Kyle.
Wow.
He froze. He did freeze.
Kyle.
Wow, look at that.
Man.
hear the comment.
I feel so bad for everyone in Florida, man. Everyone must be struggling.
I made a comment about somebody on there that would have really brought into question the type of person I am, and so I'm glad. I thought you were just super quiet and reacting to what I said, like you were in shock and scared.
Well, no, I was actually no. I just I'm not.
We're not scared of you, Kyle.
In order to be offended, I have to care what you think, Kyle.
Burn.
I'm just kidding.
Sick
Kyle.
burn.
37. Why Kyle needs to find a therapist.
All right, I'm just playing. No, I
You're
was
only
going to
up to
talk a
37?
little bit about the national
No, I'm
title,
past
but
37. I just thought I didn't want to get as dark and actually mention the number of reasons why.
Pollo in the chat just talking about how y'all darn.
I've been better, Pollo. Apparently my internet's going out, and again, I'm going through some stuff right now. But thanks a lot. And also, Gary's making me feel like I'm less of a man, but that's fine because I am.
Oh, come on, Kyle.
Wow,
No, listen.
because
Okay,
I
well.
am.
All right, we're going to talk about wrestling now. By God, it is going to happen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little commercial for, I don't know why I always set these up. Like, I got to tell you, I could just go to commercial, but I feel better when I let you know what's happening and what's happening right now. So we're going to show you a commercial for Hard Times.
Hold on, before you hit that,
What?
Scott, our executive producer, just asked a question. Whatever happened to the different USA tag belts that were teased a while back? I don't know what you're talking about, but if you keep on tuning into NWA programming, you might find out sooner rather than later. Ooh, tease.
I was going to show a clip of Pollo and Thrillbilly from NWA.
Do it.
USA,
It's great. I love it.
No, well, we're going to save that for later because right now we have a special guest waiting in the green room right now to talk to the people. So I'm going to play this commercial. God help me, I'm playing this commercial. and it's for Hard Times. And then when we come back, Kylan King is going to join us. So I'm doing it now. Nobody say anything else.
Wrestling fans, the NWA is headed to New Orleans Saturday, November 12th for Hard Times 3 live on pay-per-view, and Sunday, November 13th as Wildcat Sports presents Revolution Rumble, an NWA Power Trip taping event. See NWA World Heavyweight Champion Trevor Murdoch, NWA World Women's Champion Camille, NWA World Television Champion and the Big Easy's own Tyrus, Taryn Terrell, Junior Heavyweight Champion Homicide, Matt Cardona, Max the Impaler, Luke and PJ Hawks, the Hawks RE, La Rebellion, and more. Hard Times 3 and the Revolution Rumble, November 12th and 13th, coming to you live from the Frederick J. Seeger Civic Center. Tickets and information available at NWATix.com. That's NWATix.com, or watch it from anywhere on Fight, the National Wrestling Alliance. Wrestling as it's meant to be.
All right, and we're back, and you saw NWA Hard Times 3 coming up live from New Orleans.
You
and,
heard it too. I wonder who that guy was that was talking.
He
needs to get a
annoying.
better
I can
job.
tell you that much about him. Anyway, no, Kyle, I do love you. I don't know why I'm picking on you.
That's
so much.
okay. Kylan, I am looking at you. Are you outside in candlelight? What is the what you got like a glow about you?
I
I'm digging it.
have like a little light set up in my office so when I have to do interviews so I can look professional.
Nice. It really makes the red pop. And speaking of making things pop, opportunities popping, because tomorrow night on NWA Power, you have the opportunity to become the new #1 contender for the NWA World Women's Championship. And I got to tell you, we've all heard the news. Bully Ray, he kind of made the push for this. But regardless, I don't think William Patrick Corrigan would have accepted that push if you didn't deserve the opportunity. So how you feeling?
You know, I'm really excited. When we were in that four-way match, you know, I really wanted to win. I really wanted that opportunity to go against Camille again because we all saw it last time I stepped during Camille. I pushed her. I got this close, and I just took my eye off the ball for one side.
Is that me or did we lose her?
It wasn't me. I thought it was
I
me.
noticed Kyle just said something.
She's back.
Oh, she disappeared for a
Wait,
second.
hold on.
Okay.
Kylan, aren't
They
you
were
a
just-
Florida peep too?
I am a Florida peep.
Have you been
I'm
having
technically-
severe internet and cell issues for the last 2 weeks?
It's been like on and off. Like it'll be a couple minutes and then it'll go away and then come back. It's I think there's some kind of, but you know, we just did have a bunch of storms here, so
Yeah. We
could
lost
be
you
it.
for a second, and people have been crapping on me because I do the same thing.
There's a lot of reasons people crap.
Shut up, Garrett.
All right.
But just to finish off what you were asking, like, you know, I've been fighting really hard to earn another opportunity, and I appreciate Bully Ray, you know, pushing for me, and I appreciate Billy's confidence in me. So tomorrow, it's just about stepping in the ring and taking my abilities to the next level with Taya, so that this way I can come out with victory and hopefully call myself the #1 contender.
You know, we also, I don't know if you're aware of this, but coming up on the 15th of this month is going to be Triple Mania 30, round 3. And Taya actually has a match defending her own title against Camille there. And this is your opportunity to really be a person that could change an entire other company's pay-per-view. If you hurt her bad enough, you could pretty much screw up everything here. So that match, huge for you as well. You could be you could shift the NWA and AAA.
Here's the thing. You know, sometimes when we're out in the independents, you know, we don't really like we try to watch everybody, but we really don't study somebody until we know we have to wrestle them. But when you get into situations like Ty and I right now, where we're competing on the same roster, you know, we study each other all the time.
I'm so glad it's not me.
It's not
Yeah.
you.
And
Hello.
cut out again. Okay, there we go.
You compete against each
you
other
know-
all the time, is what you were saying. What are you doing? Oh.
And there we go. There we go. This
She's
time we're
back.
gonna be a lot more prepared for each other.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, Kylan's actions are going to do the talking for her tomorrow night on NWA Power. And let me face, in real life, there isn't Wi-Fi that you have to deal with. When you're throwing punches, kicks, and throwing people over your head, that's reality. And that's what's going to matter. I don't care what's going to happen. Kylan King will be there in person to put on a show for you, ladies and gentlemen, regardless of what Wi-Fi is. Am I doing a good job covering?
Yes, you're doing a pretty good job. You would know how to cover for it since you've had to deal with this situation so much yourself.
It's such a challenge, and I found out that AT&T covers the cell towers and a lot of stuff in Florida, so take that for what you will.
Well, it's okay. It's not the first person it's happened to. It won't be the last. This is part of the deal. It could be even StreamYard for all we know. Like they could be having trouble right now.
I'll blame Florida. It seems like Florida is a pretty good thing to blame.
Yeah,
I agree.
I've said this before. I'll say it again, and I usually say this to women. It's not you, it's me.
So you ruined her Wi-Fi?
I'm glad she came back for that.
Kylan's house
and she's not moving, but I heard,
No. Yeah, I'm not
I've also heard that
I'm
before.
a little ashamed for you right now.
It's fine. I'm used to it after 39 years.
What in the world is going on here?
Portuguesa?
So for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Taya Valkyrie has been the #1 contender for the Burke, the women's title, and up until this point. But Kylan King has gotten an opportunity. She's going to take on Taya Valkyrie this week on NWA Power. That's Tuesday night at 6:05 on Fight TV. And she gets a chance to take that #1 spot. And if she gets it, she's going to Hard Times 3 to take on Camille, which, as you know, is an epic match. We've seen it before, and I can't wait to see it again. You guys, I don't know, like, what's it like? I never got to ask you this. When you're in, you obviously train together, you and Camille. Was there that intensity in training, or did you feel like you knew her a little bit going into your last match with her? You know, like, I don't know how far apart the training was to that, and now do you feel like you've got even more of an advantage, like you know even more about her than you did before?
Yeah, her and I's time at Team 3D together was pretty quick. Like we were both educated by the same people, but we were kind of in different classes, I guess you would say. But I think when we came into that match, we both had something huge to prove. You know, we were from the same school, we were trained by the same people. So we had a lot to represent and a lot to prove. And I think that brought out an incredible amount of intensity between the two of us. Not to mention, you know, being the kind of wrestlers that her and I are, we don't get to wrestle similar bodies all the time. So, you know, most weekends you'll find me wrestling like 5'3" girls. So when I get to step in the ring with people who are the same size, if not bigger than me, it always brings out something different. And I think her and I are just so similar in a lot of the things that we do, that it's just that strategy of how do I outsmart this person and kick their butt and just take them to the limit so I can be the one to walk away with my hand being held up. I think this time, you know, if I'm able to beat Taya and become the #1 contender, I think this time it's going to be a little bit different, because as we've seen in the last couple of matches with Camille, her work is constantly evolving. Like she just, every single time she steps in the ring, she shows everybody that they're not going to know what to expect from her. And that's something I can really appreciate, because that's something I constantly strive for as well. So I think that if this match does end up happening in November, it's going to have the same amount of intensity, but there's going to be some new fun things to look forward to, for sure.
Well, I don't want you to look past Taya, and I hope that you're able to get past her.
No.
But still,
I'm wishful thinking right here. I'm putting it out in the universe.
so you're talking about the what if you're successful, and I don't even want to put this in your head, but I'm going to, because that's just the type of guy I am. Are you prepared to deal with the fact that if you do not win this match, you could possibly be completely out of title contention?
Am I ready to deal with that? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, if you are you emotionally prepared? You know, you're obviously thinking ahead. You got this, but the what if is, what if this doesn't work out? What if Taya continues being #1 contender? Where does that leave you in the National Wrestling Alliance?
I keep working. I've never had a give up kind of mentality. You know, it's everything happens for a reason. So whether I win tomorrow or not, there's still a journey to be had, and I'm still going to work my way up. And it's just going to make it that much sweeter when I do get that chance again and become the next NWA World Women's Champion.
I love that answer. Yeah, no, I love that answer, because you're obviously one of the hardest working people in the wrestling business right now. I feel like you're all over the place. So you know, the thought that on one hand, I want to tell you, like, it's like nobody else could handle the task in front of you, but also I want to tell you how insane it sounds to say for you to become NWA Women's
no, you
Champion.
were praising me and you froze.
No. Oh no, I froze. Am I back?
You're back. You're back.
Okay.
All right, we'll skip all the praise.
Keep the praise coming. Keep it
Crap.
coming. Oh, now,
No,
now
I
we'll
just-
start burying her. No,
I was going to say you're one of the hardest workers in the business, and it's just insane to me that for you to win the women's championship, on one hand, it's insane to say to get there, you've got to go through Taya Valkyrie and Camille, like basically back to back. And but then again, you know, who else would be ready for it but Kylan King, right? I mean, you've been
Yeah.
everywhere and done everything.
Who else but Kylan?
But
Come on now.
how beautiful is that a representation of the NWA women's division is look at all the competition that you have to get through in order to get that kind of opportunity. It's not like oh, that's easy. Oh, no problem. Everybody knows it's gonna be a piece of cake. No, you look at every single matchup and you're like, ooh, if she can, that's gonna be a task, but if she can do it, it's gonna be awesome. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the caliber of our women's division right now is you gotta work to get opportunities.
Well, you're kind of talking about this right now, but in the chat, one of our chatters, Media here, he's saying, question, Kylan, how does the NWA competition compare to others now that you've been to so many other promotions?
I think right now what I'm experiencing in the NWA women's division is you're having women come from all different parts of the world who have all different kinds of experiences, and nobody is the same. So like with each match, you have to think of a new strategy. You have to fight even harder, think even harder. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of to reiterate what I just said a second ago. There's no match that I could get put in with anybody in our division and it'd be like, oh, piece of cake. Like I'm gonna have to work my butt off each and every time. And every single time we have a match together, we're always becoming even more educated and even better at what we do, which just keeps pushing it to the next level. We've got an incredible group of women right now, and I always get excited for anybody I get to wrestle in that ring.
So weird. Kyle usually just jumps right in here and he's not saying anything.
Everybody
Kyle's answering emails. I could tell that. That's how I am.
yeah,
I'm
I was
also
just-
answering emails,
Yeah.
guys. But let me jump into this real quick here because we recently saw you with the Pretty Empowered version of NWA Power with Pretty Empower. We're there. Kind of a weird, awkward interview. I want to know what your relationship is with our NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion.
I mean, you seem like you had a great chemistry with them, though. I was like, oh, they seem like they're
That's
pals.
what I
that
Well,
she
you
could
were also
destroy
doing like
Yeah.
Well, that's because she could destroy them with just a snap of her fingers, but that's beside the point.
So, okay, so obviously we know that Pretty Empowered can be a little vicious sometimes, be a little dirty. So when I was standing there with them, I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to expect. But then as soon as, they started speaking, they were like, oh my God, I love you. And you're so pretty. And I'm like, wait, what? What is happening right now? So I was very shocked by that. I wasn't sure if I was going to be getting, niceness or cattiness. I wasn't aware. But once it started happening, I was feeling some vibes there. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I like it. And, and I'm so mad because they asked me the question. They said, what is it like to be the king? And now granted, my answer was still pretty good. I said, look at me. It's self-explanatory. But I thought about it later on and I was like, I should have told them that being the king is very empowering because they're
I see what you did there.
pretty
Yeah.
empowered. And I like wordplay. Sorry, I'm a nerd. I'm just gonna leave now, guys.
No, I love it.
Thanks for saving that for the podcast. We need all that good content.
Oh, you're welcome.
But you
You're
said you're a nerd.
welcome.
What's your nerdism? What's the thing that you think makes you a nerd?
There's lots of things. I used to do before wrestling. I was in college for an English major, so it's just like I love literature and I love like play on words and like doing all kinds of things like as I mentioned, video games, all the other good things that make all of us nerds. But yeah, I am just an awkward person sometimes, especially in interviews, because I think I'm really funny and then I say things and I'm like, oh, that was not okay. Are
That's
they
my
laughing?
whole life.
Trust me, as
Yeah.
somebody
right?
who also thinks they're funny, I respect that game. You are funny.
Like,
Don't ever
I
let anybody
have-
tell you otherwise.
I have 7 siblings, and I'm like the least funny one of all of them. So like I have a lot of insecurities when it comes to my ability to execute jokes and stuff like that. So I'm just like, as soon as I try to do it, I'm like, all right, bye.
So
Where are
mentioned
you
that-
in the order? I'm curious. Where
Yeah.
are you in the order of siblings? Are you the
I'm the
older
youngest.
sister? You're the youngest?
Nope. I'm the youngest. I'm the last baby.
Is everyone as tall and strong?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
There's
did
not-
you
there's
Good
not a
start.
short
that
person in my
you had
family.
to live up to your older siblings?
Say that again?
Did you feel like you had to live up to your older siblings? I'm intrigued by what makes people tick as human beings. So now that we're talking about this, I'm sorry, we're deep diving.
I think there was definitely a good chunk of time where I felt like I had to live, because like all of the boys, because I have 5 brothers and 1 sister, and every single child in our family was athletic. I was, if you could believe it or not, I was probably the least athletic of all of them. And that, yeah, so we all played sports growing up, and you know, when you're the youngest in a big pack of kids, like whatever they do, you kind of do. And so I did everything from volleyball to basketball to softball to track and field. I even played like a flag football at one time and stuff like that. Like I just did anything and everything. And then obviously I did martial arts before I got into wrestling. But like 2 of my brothers went into the Marines. One of them went into the Navy, and then another one in the Air Force. My sister is a doctor, so she's like a genius. She's so smart. And then my other brother is a lawyer. So it's just like, like there was definitely a period of time where I was like, I've got to be something big because they're all just doing this really cool stuff. And then I got into wrestling. So what's bigger than that?
So that was the catalyst for why you got into pro wrestling? Did you grow up as a fan, or was it just one of those things for you? Who were you, like the people that really got you to be like, I want to be a part of this?
So my brother Lucas was like the biggest wrestling fan of all of us. And we used to, my mother would not let us watch wrestling. She thought it was the devil's television. So
Poyo would agree.
Those are her words, not mine. So my brother used to give VHS tapes to like my grandpa or one of his best friends at the time, and they would put it on the VHS tapes for us, and we would watch. That's how we would watch it. We would wait for my mom and dad to not be home, and then we would watch it. And I just remember loving how united, like, because growing up, my brothers and I fought obviously all the time, but I loved how united we are when we are watching wrestling. And then like when it's done, like getting so excited and getting pillows and blankets from all over the house and creating our own little ring and beating each other up. Like that was so fun to us. And then, yeah, it's so I always thought about doing it when I was a little kid. But again, mom wasn't crazy about it. So when I got to a certain age, I was like, okay, I got to go to college and do all this stuff for, you know, because that's what mom and dad want. And I think I was like, I want to say early 20s, like maybe 21, 22. And I had like a panic attack mid college seminar because all I could think about was wrestling. And I was like, why am I not doing this with my life? Because at the time I was doing a lot of, I did a lot of theater and dance in high school and then continued that into college. And then when I got into college, that's when I started doing martial arts. So all of those little bugs were like stirring in my brain. And I was just like, and then I got heavily involved in wrestling again. Like I started watching it more and more and more. And then I was like, you know what? No, I was like, I used to think about this when I was a kid and then I let it go. I was like, but now I'm however old and I want to do it again. So that's when I just worked multiple jobs, saved up, moved to Florida, and then met Bully Ray.
That's actually a great story. And I always like to see like people's origins. So thank you.
Get extra?
I definitely skipped over a lot of details. There's a lot more juiciness into that story, but I'm trying to give you the highlights.
Well, I don't think any of us just assume you just walk right into professional wrestling.
No.
Like you're just like, I think I'm going to do this. And now I'm here. So,
was there a lot of pushback from your parents? Were your parents not on board when you first got into it? Are they still not on board?
I'm going to be a doctor too. A doctor of thugonomics.
So the way it worked out, so I was really close to graduating from college. So I told myself after I had that panic attack and I made the decision in my head, I told myself, I was like, hey, you're almost done. Finish school, make your mom and dad happy, and then do what you want to do. Well, I got to a point where I got my email for graduation. So I went to the office to like go register and stuff like that. And they were like, I don't know why they sent you this email. Like these credits of yours didn't transfer. So you got to take these classes all over again. And I was like, what? And at the time I was on a dance scholarship. So I had to take a certain amount of classes every semester in order to maintain that scholarship. So I asked her, I was like, between the schedule that I have to keep, how long would it take me to retake all these classes? And she was like, oh, probably like another 2 years.
Oof.
And I was like,
2 years worth of money.
Yes. So and I already knew that I wasn't gonna, I was like, I know what I want to do with my life. Like it was already like so implanted in my head and my heart. I was like, I know what I want to do with my life. So I just told her, I'm like, I'm done. And then I went home and I told my parents that way. And my dad was kind of the medium of the situation because he understood that I was unhappy. So he was excited to see me make a big decision for myself.
The youngest
But my
child also
mom-
gets what they want.
No, like yes, but no. Because I have an older sister, but we grew up in separate parts of the world. So like I was his only daughter at the time. So like
Parts of
he
the
just
world?
well, she grew up in Tennessee and we grew up in Ohio. So like she really wasn't around that much. And
I was
her and
going to
I
say like, Israel or
sorry, no. I made that so much more dramatic than I meant it to.
something. Oh, great story. I liked it. I bought it. I sold it. I was like,
Wait, what?
I love it when two Florida people talk to each other with their internet. It's great.
But yeah, her and I are like 12 years apart. So like her childhood and my childhood was very separate. So like he and like my dad was like one of those people that he knew when I was unhappy, and I wasn't always the best at opening up and talking about it. So he was always very good at finding me when I was alone and just being like, hey, tell me what's going on. And then I would get it out and then I would be okay again. So he was kind of like my best friend in that kind of regards. So when he realized that I was making this decision for me because I was clearly unhappy, he was just like, okay, good for you. But now we need to deal with the situation because your mom's really unhappy. But I will say once I moved to Florida and started doing it and showing her that like, hey, I'm not screwing up my life. I'm not throwing all this education away. Like I'm doing something important to me. And then I was doing it and being independent on my own. Then she was like, oh, okay, she really wants this. And then she started coming around to it. And now I go home and I can actually talk to her about it because she used to hate wrestling. She wouldn't watch it, nothing. And now she'll actually go on YouTube and watch my matches. And I just thought that was really cool.
if you win that
Shout her
NWA
around.
title at Hard Times 3, if you win the match tomorrow night, if you do all of this stuff, Mom, you're not going to have any ability to say otherwise. She's made it. She's doing it. Be proud of her.
That was definitely. I was
She's
going to
a
ask if she thought you were the devil now, or at least in a cult.
Oh
or
no.
something.
Well, because
The red hair, you know.
Yeah. Her introduction to wrestling was the Attitude Era.
Oh.
So the first thing, yes. So the first thing she ever saw female-wise in the wrestling business was the wet t-shirt contest.
Yeah.
So to her, that's what I wanted to do with my life. And it took me a little while to explain to her, like, hey, Mom, no, it's a business, it's a sport. It's really, really cool. We tell stories and we make people feel, and it's really great. And so like I think now that I've been doing it long enough and she watches it more consistently, she's starting to understand that. So
That context of when she's very important. That story changed the entire idea of what she thought you were getting into. There's a couple questions in the chat. Right here. Who was your wrestling idol? That's from Certified Wrestling Podcast.
I love Steamboat, Brett, Sean. I think one of my Dynamite, one of my biggest ones just symbolically was China, because growing up, I was always very different looking from a lot of the girls that were in my class. I was always taller, more muscular, obviously very, very pale. And even though this isn't my natural hair color, I know, shocker. I was a redhead growing up, and like all of my friends were blonde and brunettes and stuff like that. So I always was in this state of feeling like I didn't fit in. And then I remember the first time I ever saw China on a screen, and she just walked out and she was this tall, beautiful, badass, muscular woman. And I remember seeing people's reactions to her and thinking to myself, like, these people love her because of the way she looks, and she's getting paid a lot of money because of the way she looks. So that really spoke to me. And I always just, anytime she was on a screen, I just was in awe.
I think you bring up representation is super important, because a lot of people, I'm a white guy in America. There's a lot of people I could look up to. There's a lot of people I go, that person, I go, that represents me. But a lot of other people find it sometimes hard to find that they can connect with at a young age that they see represented on, television, entertainment, sports. And I love hearing that you found somebody that made you feel comfortable about who you were, because at the end of the day, that's one of the most important things. as a professional athlete that's on TV, does that weigh on you at all? Where you think maybe there's going to be somebody that will see me and say, "Oh, that person is just like me. That's somebody who's, look, they're a success. They're living their life. Fantastic." Does that ever weigh on you?
Yes, but not in a stressful way. Like, because in the younger years of my life, I dealt with that very heavily, like just all those insecurities. Because growing up with a bunch of siblings, you get teased a lot, and then the particular area that I lived in, I would, I don't like using the word bully because I wasn't like physically beat up or anything. It was more like mental bullying. I just got made fun of a lot. Because again, I just didn't look like, I was this really pale Irish girl who didn't look like anybody. So all of the little nasty thoughts that you have in your head, I went through that at a very young age. And I finally came out the other end to a point where I was like, you want to know what? I was made the way I am for a reason. And quite honestly, a lot of the things that was made fun of about me or that I was really insecure about as a kid are what make me stand out now in wrestling and what make people want to see me on their screens. So I try to take pride in that. And that's why I try my best every single time I come out to walk out with confidence. My Grammy always used to say, head up, shoulders back. Doesn't matter what people think, head up, shoulders back. So I've always tried to walk out with that mentality. That way people know that I like who I am. I like how I look. And if there's any kind of way that you feel or look and you think it's not right, you're probably wrong. It's probably exactly what you're supposed to be. So that's what I hope I can make people feel when I come out. Because as a woman in this industry, we're always preached about it's a cosmetic business. So always work on what's going to make you look the best. But for me, it's like, yes, I'm going to present myself well, but I'm not going to change my features just because you don't like them. Like, if you don't like my nose, you don't like my nose. If my skin is not the right shade for you, sorry, I don't care. I could put tanning lotions on me, but then I wouldn't be authentic. I wouldn't be me. So
I love
guess
that. Can you just send out motivational messages every morning? Like,
I just want people to be up their authentic selves, because I think it was Saraya. They said that she had a WWE tryout, and she showed, I think I could be remembering this wrong, but she showed up for her first tryout and she had blonde hair and a tan, and they instantly knew, like, this isn't her. And then she came back and she was, herself, her black hair, her pale skin, and then she got hired. So it's like, when you're in your authentic self, that's when people really understand and connect to you, and they feel it, because you can't fake that stuff.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you too, when you were talking about your favorites, did you get to talk to Steamboat when he in Nashville?
For like a split second. Because that was the night we had the 4-way. So he like walked over to us and he was like, "Hey, 4-way match?" And we're like, yeah. And he's like, "What do you have?" And then we kind of called it to him. He's like, "You guys are gonna be good." He's like, "You're gonna be fine." Because I think he was like ready to be like, "No, this is the formula. This is what you need to do." And then we all talked to him. He's like, "That sounds good. That sounds good." And I was like, he approved of our match. Okay.
I go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm still in the phase where when I'm around people that, I watched growing up, I still kind of go like, should I talk to them? I don't know. Like, do they care? Like, I don't know. Like, I get very, like I said, awkward. I get very awkward. So hopefully next time I see them, I'll be a little bit more chatty.
That is super interesting to me, because I get to go there now, and I am that way with you guys still. So like, it's just so funny to think like you're part of the show, like you're on TV all the time. So you should feel pretty okay with that. But it's interesting to see there's still those insecurities. I wanted to ask you. I did want to ask you about your brother too. Did you get extra cool points at least with him? I know we talked a lot about your parents, but did your brother like think you're the best?
So that's another part of the story. When I moved to Florida, I originally couldn't. I almost didn't make it to Florida because I was working like 3+ jobs, and I still wasn't saving up enough money to live on my own. And then at one point, one of my brothers, Mitchell, he was like, "Hey, I used to live in Florida and I would like to move back, so I'm gonna go with you." So then we were like, okay, I think this might work, but we were still kind of financially tight. So then my brother Lucas was like, "Hey, I hate Ohio. I want to move I'll go with you. And again, Lucas was the big wrestling fan. He was when I told him that I was going to become a professional wrestler, he was the one that was like, yes, like he was so excited. So they both moved with me to Florida to make that journey possible. And the entire time that I was here in Florida training, like they were helping me split my bills and support me and make sure that staying in Florida was possible. So they are a huge part of my journey, and they're the main reason why I was able to move to Florida, find Team 3D, and train with Bully and all that stuff. So yes, to say I got some some points with them was for sure. Yeah.
That's amazing. Like I wish that kind of environment for anybody. That's pretty incredible. Kylan,
yeah.
I know I told you we were going to keep you on like 15, 20 minutes. We're well over that, I'm sure. So I'm going to, if you don't mind, I'm going to run through some real quick, like lightning round questions from the chat here. So I also don't leave our chat out. And, so do you have a dream opponent? I don't think we covered that.
I would like to, I hate that question because there's so many wonderful women out there. So my go-to answer is always, I would like to wrestle more. I would like to wrestle in Japan. I would like to wrestle more Japanese girls because there's just something that they bring out in me, and it's incredible. Yeah. That's a terrible answer, I feel, but yes.
No, I mean, the world.
If that's how you feel, that can't be a terrible answer.
Yeah, because when I was able to wrestle some of the Japanese girls in AEW, like I can't tell you how much I learned from that. And that's like the biggest thing for me is I never want to be complacent with my work. I always want to constantly, every single time I walk through and back through a curtain, I want all of this to grow. And they definitely, because of the fact that you can't really speak to them in the matches because they don't speak English, and the fact that their style is so different, it just, every single time I've wrestled a Japanese girl, I've always just like, my mind has just expanded so much. So I definitely I would like to do that more.
Interesting. This person asks, Pollo Del Mar says, who is the loveliest person in the NWA and why is it Pollo Del Mar? That's a good bias question.
Because Pollo is just the most uplifting human being ever. That's why. Who is the lovely, like in the NWA entirety or the NWA women?
I don't know. That was just the question.
I think that was just Pollo putting Pollo over.
So, yeah. So the question was already answered. I just had to read it. Why?
You just had to affirm it.
Well, I will say this. Pollo did send a second question right after that, so this might be easier.
Okay.
It was your favorite literary read.
Ooh.
I assume that's different than like your favorite bathroom stall read or cereal box read.
So they could be the same.
I'm trying to remember the name of this book. So there's a couple. My taste in reading is very back and forth. But I found the older I get, I'm more into fictional, like sci-fi style literature. There was a series that I used to read growing up called Pendragon, and it was like about this guy who would go through all these universes, and each universe had a problem it was going through, and he had to solve it in order to keep the universe from collapsing. And it was one of those series that I always like was baffled that it never turned into a TV series because it was just so good. And the writer was always very good at making every world so different and being so creative with all the details of the world or the worlds. So I think that was probably one of my favorite things to read growing up. And then there was another book that's like in the complete opposite direction. I think it was called The Velvet Room or The Velveteen Room or something like that. It was like a mystery novel, I think. And because I like mystery novels. I read a lot of Sherlock Holmes too.
Nice. Let's see. Did I have any more here?
One person asked what your scariest in-ring moment was.
Scariest in-ring moment. Yeah.
Probably when I wrestled, I can't remember her name. Crap.
That's how scary it was.
Yeah.
I heard the name right.
I tried to forget it all.
I was thinking that you were going to say the triple threat casket match I watched you in recently.
Oh, I mean, that was kind of scary.
Like literally.
a little claustrophobic situation going on there, but I survived. I wrestled a Japanese girl in Miami, and I gave her. There was a couple things that went a little bit wrong, and because of it, a bump that I gave her was very, very scary. And I remember I went down to the floor and I checked on her and I said, "Hey, are you okay?" And she went, "Yes." And I went, "Okay." She understood what I said, so I threw her back in the ring. And then before I could get her in a hold so the ref could check on her, she was already getting up and moving to the next spot. And again, she didn't speak a lick of English, so I had to like grab her and put her in a hold and be like, "No, no, you have to stay." And I just remember that was the scariest thing because we were live and I had no idea if she like, I thought I broke her spine. Like that's how scary
Was
the
it
bump
Yuka
was.
Sasaki?
Yes, it was
Sakazaki?
Yuka. I was like,
Sakazaki.
Yes, I couldn't. It's been forever since I've had this. I'm one of those people, if I don't say your name constantly, goes.
I'm
But
the
yes,
same way.
Yuka.
Don't worry about it.
Yuka. When I gave her that apron bump, the way she fell with me, it was the most scary thing. And I've done that spot so many times. So it was like one of those slow motion moments where I'm like, what is happening with her body? Why is she coming this way? And then I thought for sure I broke her spine. And when I checked on her, she said she was okay. But then I got back in the ring and the ref was like, "Hey, I have to check on her, put her in a hold." And then she was just like going, and I was like, "I know," and I just grabbed her. Thankfully, I checked on her a million times after that. She said she was perfectly fine, but in the moment, it was one of those, I'm done. My career's done. Nobody's ever gonna book me again. It was very, very scary.
Oh, is there a certain kind of match that you'd like to do at least once? This chat. This is how seriously she takes your questions. She is thinking this over right now.
Just watch the clip of the apron spot, and that's why I just went,
I honestly, I don't have a specific answer, like a specific match answer for that. But what I will say is I found that I really love matches that involve me to get a little bit more hardcore. I recently had a cage match not that long ago, and I had never had a cage match before in my life, but it brought something out in me, and I learned a new side of my fighting abilities that day. So honestly, like anything hardcore, like that's the stuff I always dreamed about doing as a kid. So that would be fun.
All right.
Fun in an animalistic kind of.
Well, we're not going to hold you up forever. So thanks for taking the time to answer all these questions. You've got Taya Valkyrie this Tuesday. I guess one last question I want to leave you with is just you've been in the ring with Kamille. What Taya and Kamille, I always feel weird about asking this question because it's always, it just sounds like I don't know. Maybe I'm making it more weird by talking about it more. But when I say Taya and Kamille are bigger girls and like they are, they're power athletes, and you're in the ring with either of them. I know you talked about the difference between being in the ring with someone like Kamille, but do you feel like there's a difference with like what you're going to deal with Taya as opposed to Kamille, or is it kind of a similar scenario for you?
I think it's a little bit of a similar scenario. I will say that Taya pushes me more on the technical side of wrestling. She's one of those wrestlers that's very educated and knows all the different avenues of the body and how to work them in order to find success in her matches. So I always have to be a little bit more aware of her on the technical side as opposed to just, brutality and beating the crap out of each other. So I think if I had to pick a difference between the two of them, that would probably be the biggest thing is the technicality of it, because like I said, she's very, very educated, and she makes me have to push myself in that perspective as well.
Yeah, and she's got a lot of experience. In the chat, I see Polio mentioning that, just that Kamille, is what she is. She's a generational star and like that kind of thing. Like she's a anomaly, but like then you got Taya, who is like a general. Like she's just been around the world. She's been everywhere. She's done everything. Like, and so that's kind of interesting to think about too. You're talking about somebody with an extreme amount of experience in Taya.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Kylan, we're looking forward to seeing you this Tuesday night in the ring with Taya, and we're going to wish you luck. And if you win this matchup, you are the #1 contender for the Women's World Championship, and at Hard Times 3. So, any last things you want to plug or say or do or anything before we let you go?
Tune in tomorrow night, guys, 6:05 Eastern on Fight TV, and again on Friday on YouTube. I'm going against one of the best in the world, and I intend to beat her and become the #1 contender because your girl wants to be the next NWA World Women's Champion.
I want to tell you how great Kylan King is. She did this totally last minute. She's here, and I told her like 15, 20 minutes and then kept her for like an hour, it feels like. So thank you so much for doing this, Kylan.
Anytime. It was awesome.
Thanks for joining us, and good luck tomorrow. We're pulling for you.
Thank
And if
you.
Taya was here, I'd tell the same thing because I just try to please everybody we talk to.
All right. Later.
Be safe.
All right. There goes
Alright.
Kylan King. She's amazing. She really is. She is a sweetheart, and we love talking to her. And thanks for we want to thank her again for doing this. Guys, we got like a whole man. We took up so much of our time.
I know we got a lot to talk
USA.
about.
Yeah.
But let's look forward to the future. Let's forget about what happened in the past. Let's talk about what's coming up. Let's go right into that stuff because I'm really excited about what we're seeing the Power and what it's going to influence and a lot of decisions that could be made to what we could see at Hard Times 3. Big things are happening. Big things.
I would agree. Let's look to the future. Let's not look to the past. You can still check that out on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. But this week, NWA Power, we have the triple threat match, the finals of the national title qualifying tournament. Who is going to get the opportunity? Dak Draper, Chris Adonis, Thrill Silas. We get it. Put it in the chat. But literally, Chris Adonis, 2-time national champion. Dak Draper, a man name for all of professionals. Now is a free and Silas really came out of nowhere. Really, it was Trailer Park, but seeming right ahead.
Carl, I hate to cut off your plug, but no one can hear it.
Well, I'm trying not to be rude. I feel like I picked on him too much. If you guys don't,
God, I was killing it. Too.
Anybody that
doing so well.
If you don't speak robot, there's Kyle Davis was just saying. I mean, you got a big matchup this week on NWA Power for the national championship #1 contender. We've been putting over the women's title this whole time. How about this? Dak Draper, Chris Adonis, Billy Silas. Chris Adonis, a 2-time national champion, and he's in here with.
Favorite.
Yeah,
I literally said
think
Hands
so.
down.
I literally said that.
Good.
Well,
So
I'm sorry,
No
we
one
didn't hear
told
it.
you. We
No
didn't
one
hear you.
cares either, Kyle. I understand.
Yeah.
But how about, I mean, Billy Silas coming seemingly out of nowhere. Dak Draper's got some history in the business that we've seen, like if you watched Ring of Honor and that sort of thing. But I mean, this guy's new to the NWA. So like 2 basically newbies to the NWA taking on a well-established national champion. This is going to be interesting. And,
Gary, you can now take my job from the National Wrestling Alliance.
No.
Every talking point I accept, I brought up a Trailer Park 3 months.
We just
Gary's too
couldn't.
tall.
Kyle, if anything, it makes me feel good that I at least hit points that Kyle Davis would have hit. That's what I
nailed it,
feel good
brother.
about. That's how I feel. Like I feel like I'm learning something that at least I know. If Kyle Davis would have hit it, that was the right stuff to talk about. So
And
here
if
we
you want to learn something, tune into Power this Tuesday to find out who will walk away with the #1 contendership for the national title.
perfect. Will Pollo Del Mar be a factor? Pollo, are you going to stay out of the ring? I know you're in the
She's
chat.
always a factor.
All right. Another match that we haven't talked about yet. How about this? This is a weird one. This is Question Mark 2 versus Casey Rocks. We're learning more about Monrovia, and apparently there are more question marks. Aaron Stevens not happy with this situation.
No,
so
not happy at all, saying that this guy's an imposter. I don't think he's an imposter at all. If anyone's the imposter, it would be Question Mark 1. But I mean, Question Mark 2 is getting his hands on Casey Rocks there. And I think that he's, I almost feel bad for Casey Rocks, just the fact that, there's a huge size differential there. He's a lot smaller. He's going up against an almost lethal martial artist in Question Mark 2. And at the same time, he's going to be so motivated because he's not just fighting for wins or to be a champion or to be considered to be a #1 contender. He's fighting for his brother. He's fighting for his legacy. He's fighting for his country. and that makes you a very, very, very dangerous person. So Casey Rocks is going to, hopefully he's learned a few tricks from Aaron Stevens, because he's going to have to bring everything he's got to that match.
You see that contract in Aaron Stevens' hands. That piece of paper says that he owns the copyright to the question mark, and that this is all infringement and whatnot. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Nobody's seen that paper.
Well,
there.
even so, I mean, how far does that copyright go? I mean, you can't have that in perpetuity in Monrovia. It's not an international blanket thing. I'm sure.
But we're not in Monrovia. We live in a country where you can own somebody's name.
And the question mark itself, I mean, it is the symbol on their flag. I mean, it's a symbol of a nation. You can't copyright the American flag, can you? Come on.
And don't sell Casey Rock short either. Because that man, Aaron Stevens, is constantly just writing him, telling him he's worthless, doesn't even want to consider him one of his clients. But the man's always happy to be there smiling, keeps on trying. And that means one of two things. Either he is positive or he's delusional. If he is delusional, he's dangerous. And so Casey Rock may just be as dangerous as Monrovian karate.
Gary, you're the most patient producer, because I know with the other podcast, Kyle would have gotten thrown off right now without bad signal.
Well, bad. Right, from now,
it's bad.
I'm going to walk through the wall.
I don't even know what he said there. So
no. I'm sorry, Kyle. I'm so sorry. And it always happens when we're trying to do Kyle and I throughout the day might have a Zoom meeting or a phone call. Absolutely fine, no issues. But whenever we're doing something that's like live or for an audience, it just completely goes to shit.
We were fine before the hurricane. Is that correct?
Well, that's true too. But even after, it's bizarre. What else we got match-wise, Gary? Let's go.
Well, look, I mean, if we haven't talked enough about women's wrestling, how about we give you another match here? A tag team matchup. The Hex versus Natalia Markova and Taryn Terrell. I mean, I can't think of 4 women I'd rather see weekly on NWA Power than these 4. And here they are in a tag team match going head-to-head. This is going to be, or heads-to-head, I guess would be the proper way to point this out. And guys, I also should, as a surprise in these last few minutes as we run through things, I should mention that I did get a special message as well, since everybody thought we had a lack of people or a lack of Kyle or something on this broadcast. But we do have a special guest that wants to jump in that I think some of our people are going to appreciate. And there he is. It's Doc Stinson is here. Look at Doc.
Look at them arms, Joe Galli.
Boom. Welcome to the gun show, brother.
Yeah, my man. Kyle, not so much.
His arms are great. They're just pixelated. It's hard to see them.
Kyle, we have talked about this. What is up with your equipment?
I think some of it might have gotten submerged earlier this week or last week.
Man,
we got Atari Kyle this week.
Seriously, I thought about you all week, man. I thought about you all week with the hurricane and everything. I'm so glad you're doing well, man. Prayers for you and your family and everybody around you. You're looking good, man.
So, Doc, it's been a while, but I imagine you must be pretty excited for what you're seeing, especially as we get closer and closer to Hard Times 3, big triple threat matchup for the heavyweight championship. The fans here haven't heard what you have to say about all this stuff that's going down.
Oh, man. What can you say? NWA, as always, is bringing it in the Big Easy. You got Tyrus. You got Trevor Murdoch, the real world's heavyweight champion. And you got Matt Cardona, the pretender, all in one ring. Man, that's going to be it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. It's big stuff.
Unprecedented. And, for us to be able to go down south into the Big Easy, into New Orleans, a lot of history with pro wrestling there. And it's a great town. It's a great wrestling. That and Baton Rouge. I mean, we're such strongholds for decades when it comes to pro wrestling. So it's great for us to be able to kind of make that return. Right, Gary?
That is correct, Doc. It's good to see you. The pop is apparently deafening, according to Eric Dale in Davenport, Iowa, for your return here on the show. So thanks for being here. And I got to get your thoughts, since you're here right now, the one match we haven't talked about that's coming up on NWA Power right now. We've talked about it, obviously, with the woman herself. But now that we're getting there on NWA Power, big match, number 1 contender for the NWA Women's Championship. Since you're here, Doc, I'll even say it, that I think we can take credit for it being called the Burke. We called it that on the podcast. It's like day one. That is the Burke. Camille has a challenge from Taya Valkyrie already, but Kylan thinks she deserves that spot. Bully Ray lobbied. Here you have it. Number one contenders match. Kylan versus Taya. Doc, what are your thoughts on this? First, on who you think walks out with the number one contendership, and do they have a shot against the one-time champ, Camille?
Those are two big questions. And I think, first of all, Taya Valkyrie and Kylan King is that this match is happening here. This is another testament of why for the last 3, 4, 5 years, at least the last 3 years, the NWA has been the hot spot for women's wrestling. It's been it. You talk about a name in women's wrestling that you respect, they come into the NWA, and you're looking at two of the big dogs right now, Kylan King and Taya Valkyrie. I've watched them both. I respect them both. I hate to even prognosticate on this, but at the end of the day, I mean, I'm looking at in the pecking order of things, who is the heir apparent to the Burke? If there is one, I'm going with Kylan King.
Big words. All right. Wasn't sure where to go with it. Joe, you feeling the same way? You feeling good about Kylan going into this this week?
Well, I have known Kylan for a number of years, and I've seen many more of her matches. Even on the independent scene, she comes and works. The Texas territories quite a bit, and so she's always awfully impressive. But Taya Valkyrie is probably in the best position that Taya's ever been in her career as the current Reina de Reinas champion. Now, of course, that could change this weekend at Triple Mania, and you could be looking at 2-belt Camille. But, when you take a look at that, you've got this really battle of two people that are really at the top of their game. So it's really hard to make a choice for it. It's almost a coin flip with it. And so when you start thinking that way, I'm just going to pull, from my personal relationship. I've just known her for longer, and maybe there's a small part of me that's rooting for Kylan. So I think that there's just a little bit of, just in my heart, that's where it is. But in my head, it's basically a 50-50 split, and it really could go either way. And I will tell you this, that no matter what way, the real winner is going to be the fans, because that's going to be a barn burner of a match.
That's right.
Look, I'm with you guys, actually. I love Taya. Like, Taya's a sweetheart. She was great. She's obviously one of the best in the business going right now. But Kylan is that one person that I think that everybody can get behind, in that she has busted her ass to get into this business, to go to every single company. She's all over the place. She's yet to have that one big moment, like the big moment for a world championship. And this is her opportunity to get there. And she was so close. She's already, I say she hasn't won the world championship. She's been in the match, and she came very, very close. And I think some would argue, arguably closer than anybody else has ever come.
Very
to defeating Camille.
No one can beat Camille. Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah. Listen, Taya Valkyrie and Kylan King are great as number one contenders, but there are oceans. There are oceans between both of them and Camille. Oceans. I'm talking about the Atlantic, the Pacific, whatever. There are oceans between those. Nobody beats Camille. Not in our lifetimes, guys.
Yeah, and Polio arguing me that Camille and Taya was match of the year contender in her opinion, and that's very true. So I'm not taking anything away from Taya there. It just I don't know. I want to see. I feel like if anybody's earned another shot.
What do you want to see, Gary? What do you want to see? You want to see what?
I want to see Camille
go down. You want to see? Just
no. Nobody's saying that.
I'm just saying I want to. You've been wanting to say that for 2 years, Gary.
Oh my God! Here we go. It's good to have you back, Doc. No, I'm just saying you're not giving Kylan enough credit for what she did against Camille. It was a matter of inches, a matter of seconds, and Kylan King could be the defending world champion right now.
In the world title picture, you're talking about seconds, Gary. That ain't nothing for Camille. Camille been to seconds multiple times. What are you talking about? Ain't
I'm
nobody
just
beating
saying
Camille.
Somebody's finally. I love Camille. You know I love Camille. But
And Joe Galli, I'm right.
These past few
You
months,
know I'm right. But because you on the company payroll, because you are the company boy, you have to agree with Gary.
Oh, I never agree with Gary. You've been away from this show for too long, sir.
That's true.
I've been in the rafters like Sing. I've seen what you said. I saw what you said about me.
All right, guys, I'm going to jump over. I know Joe's got things to do and people got things to do, so I'm going to jump over, though. We did get a clip. Danny Dealz is out, hanging out on the town, headed to concerts and that sort of thing, and he just sent this in for us.
We had to send this in because nobody will watch the stream if the IV boys are not, if Danny Dealz is not in. I gave out the coupon code for the Dailyites and the NWA peoples just for the streamers. That was nice of me. Medusa would never do that, right? She'd never do that. So we just figured we'd check in. Of course, you know, this is our own private VIP party zone. This is for the OBI. They found out we were coming. We were coming to see the boss, not Bruce Springsteen, our boss in Faces. And, you know, they just had to give us their own spot. It's kind of cool here. It's a little creepy. What do you think? Not really my vibe, but it's okay. Yeah, he's tagged 3 rats already. Don't let him lie to you. Anyway, look, the beer's free. It's cold. I just want to say hi because I know everybody's being annoyed. Kyle's talking over Wil. Will's getting hot about it. Gary's burying the guests. Joe's Joe. We got no heat with Joey G. It's all right. It's all right. Actually, we do have a question. We have a question for Kylan King. Kylan King's a guest. Oh, really? Yeah. My question is, ask her how it feels to have grown up in Northeast Ohio, where the Deal Machine is from. I'm from Cleveland, right? So I know that fills her with great pride. So ask her how that feels when she goes to any arena. You got a question for Kylan?
No, I got one thing to say.
Okay.
Sal and Nara, I'm going to cripple your ass. So it's coming.
Yeah.
One day, I'm going to get you in the NWA ring. You take your kids to school. I don't care. I will get you.
They might have to be out of that, you know what I mean? Because I think they're running from us. I mean, Medusa would totally put us in the ring with those pricks again because she'd think they would kill us. But, so I think they're running from us. So, yeah, Count Chocula, Boo Berry, Yummy Mummy, and Frankenberry. Yeah, anytime.
This is a good time. Let's not worry
It's
about
a good time. Yeah, that's a good time. We're having a good time now. We can talk about kicking your fucking ass anytime, but this is a good time. All right, that's enough. Thank you.
Wow. All right.
Ooh.
Deal's getting rough there at the end. I will say this. I think he was like 0 for 10 on predictions of the show since Wil wasn't here. Kyle didn't talk over many people because Kyle was just in and out the whole time. Doc showed up. He sent this in, Polio pointing out he turned on the 2006 Motorola flip phone, which is obvious. Kylan's already gone, and we got the clip. And anyway, here we are. But whatever. The point is, Dealz, I'm sure he regrets that he didn't come on a day that you were here, Doc. It's good to see you. Glad to have you around.
Thank you, man.
I know you're good buddies with Alex Taylor. I don't know if you've heard him talking about this, but this has been a thing recently on social media for you guys following along. And if any place is good for it, it's here on NWA Extra. Alex Taylor's been real adamant about he is sick of Sal Rinauro. I think he got a lot of fame off that suplex, and he's not happy about it anymore.
Well, he's not happy about the fame. What he's not happy about is he nearly died, Gary.
Well, I'm just saying,
part of me thinks it's incredibly justified from Alex Taylor.
Right.
And have you seen Sal lately? Do we have a moment that we can share with this crazy dude?
Oh, well, Joe, look at this guy. He knows how to throw to the position. Joe's it's like, I'm done with this. I'm throwing to the spots. I guess we missed this last week. I saw some people mention that in the chat. But I guess it's time for a moment of Sal to see if he can respond to that Alex clip.
The killer in me will kill the killer in you.
going to be honest with you. I feel like I actually understood that could be a response to Alex Taylor right there.
Yeah, there's some genuine heat there, brother.
Yeah, and I love the fact that he quoted Menudo, one of the greatest rock bands of all time. That's love it.
That
Sal's off his rocker. I like Sal. I've never had a problem with Sal. But you talking about my boy Alex Taylor?
Yeah. Anyway,
today's the greatest day I've ever known.
This is it.
More Menudo. This guy knows his
Another Menudo.
Joe,
that was unexpected. That was a moment of Doc.
Oh my God. Anyway, all right. So let's see. What else? Anything else we want to talk about here? Well, let's run through what we know about Hard Times 3 real quick before we get out of here. Obviously, there is the U.S. tag title match. We've heard it out already. The Fixers are defending this U.S. Tag Team Championships against the Spectaculars. Doc, as a historian of wrestling, you feel good about those titles and the representatives of those titles?
Love the titles. And gosh, man, I'm a fan of the Fixers, and I really, really like the Spectaculars. You can't lose on this one. But if you're going to pin me down, I just think the Fixers are too big, man. The Fixers are too big. The Spectaculars are too new. The Fixers are going to be our U.S. Tag Team Champions for a minute.
Interesting. So the other thing we do know from Hard Times 3, I mean, one of the other things is we know Kerry Morton is the #1 contender for the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship. Is that going to be against Homicide? We'll find out as we move closer to November 12th. I'd love to see Kerry Morton and Homicide go one-on-one one more time. Doc, I got to ask you about this one. This one just recently announced. How about Nick Aldis is going one-on-one with Odinson?
I've been waiting for this. I want to hear what the Doc has to say.
Well, I mean, you heard it. I put it out there on social media. Nick Aldis, the real world's heavyweight champion, the greatest world's heavyweight champion of the modern era, packed a lot of comment into those 2 minutes there on Twitter. Everything he said is correct. No disrespect to Odinson. Odinson's a big, bad dude. He is a contender. He wouldn't be in the NWA if he wasn't. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Odinson is a big, big ogre. And Nick Aldis is a ring tactician. He's a ring general. And there's nobody in the world. Nobody. I don't care who you're talking about. I don't care if you're talking about doggone Trevor Murdoch, the world's champion. I don't care who you're talking about. Everybody stands second fiddle to Nick Aldis. And Odinson's about to be just the next one on the next crusade.
Well said, Doc. It's good to have you back in that unadulterated Aldis support. I love that.
It's earned, though. It's earned. And it's not unadulterated. It's earned. That support is earned and proven after 1,044 days of defending the best crown, the most prestigious crown in the world against all the top competition. Odinson is going to be a footnote to the magnum opus that is Nick Aldis and his career. And here, hopefully pretty soon, when Mr. Conspiracy Corgan himself wakes up and realize what's good for this industry, we'll see Nick Aldis with that third World's Heavyweight Championship.
Well, there's Doc's hot take. How about this matchup that's coming up? We just saw this one announced. Tom Latimer and EC3 one-on-one in a singles match. EC3 been trying to play some mind games, and Tom Latimer's not the man he once was. That EC3 still seems to think he is. Tom Latimer's been through a lot, and I would say has fortified himself, like as a person, as a athlete, as just in this
as a grown ass man.
He's a grown-ass man. He's
That's
ready
right.
to march his way
That's
up to
what's great
world
about
title competition.
Both these matches. Well, you just mentioned this one. This is what sets the NWA apart. We got some grown-ass men, some big heavyweight athletes at the top of their game, and it's all going down at Hard Times in New Orleans. This is another one, I feel like I keep trying to do this cop-out where it's a 50-50 split. But look, that's what just happens when you let's look at this picture. Look at these two specimens of human being. They're at the top of their game, and that's saying something for both of them. With the level of experience that they have in the sport of professional wrestling, this is why Hard Times in New Orleans is a can't miss. You got to pre-order that pay-per-view now on Fight, or if you're in that Louisiana area, November 12th and 13th, get your tickets now because they won't last long.
So Joe, don't be the 50-50 man. Who you got?
Okay.
Who you got?
I think my heart is going to be leaning towards Tom. And I think the reason for that is I feel like there's so much that EC3 is trying to just bring this vile, this venom, and all these things that Tom Latimer has already conquered in his life, in his personal life, has nothing to do with what's happening in the ring. He's just trying to pull all this poison and then bring it back into his life, which is so bizarre to me. I don't think it has anything to do with Tom's narrative now as a person or as a professional wrestler. And so I think for that reason, I'm going to be pulling for Tom on that one.
Now, you said your heart, though, but I'm looking at Emmy award-winning analyst here, a scientist, okay?
Yeah.
When you analyze it, take your heart out of the equation, Joe. Because I feel the same way. Like, I have affection for Tom, you know what I mean?
Right.
Take that out. Be the analyst. Be the Emmy award-winning scientist that you are. Tell me right now who walks out. New Orleans.
I think here's the other part, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I think Tom and his position in the NWA and the fact that he is definitely, in that hunt for singles gold, being a former tag team champion, but that was a while back. That was all the way back. I mean, we celebrated our 3-year anniversary of NWA Power back when he was a tag team champion. And so it's been that long. So he wants to hold singles gold, and a victory over EC3 kind of solidifies him as being in that conversation, whether it's for the national title, the TV title, or the heavyweight title. So I think that just having that motivation alone should give Tom the edge in that match. And so my pick is still Tom.
And you know what, Joe? You're 100% correct. Tom wins this match.
That's right. See, Gary,
I just wanted to make sure.
I just want to right about the one thing Dealz is right about. No one's got heat with me.
It's so weird.
I just want to make sure you're being true.
I'm just saying. I mean, I got love for Tom too, but I think the guy's marched on so far over these past 3 years of NWA Power and before that, that he doesn't. Anybody that tries to come and pull him backwards is asking for the wrong fight. Like he's going to squash that real quick. He's got ambitions. He's got goals, and those goals are the 10 pounds of gold. He is.
I think he's 10 pounds at the same time.
10 pounds of gold. You got 10 pounds of gold.
Did you change your backdrop, man?
I mean, it's a real backdrop.
Did you like?
I moved to a different room.
What?
Ooh, Gary's got more rooms, folks.
I've been in his house. I've been in his house.
In the Gary Horne estate.
I've been in his house. What
private reserve, the Gary Horne private reserve.
That looked like the same room to me. It looked like you just flipped your camera around.
Nah, dog. I moved to a different room.
What'd you do with the other room?
It became the family, like there's extra office space.
That little freaking room that you used to
play billiards.
Oh gosh.
That's where I put the pool table and the bowling alley.
Let me give a quick shout out before we talk about the next match. I want to talk about I may say this wrong, but Effiani Ivy. Effiani?
Oh boy.
Effiani.
Sure. I'm not even joking. I'm
awesome.
glad that you're here. First time viewer from Nigeria. Thanks for being
here, my friend.
Seriously.
International.
That's awesome.
I love that. Show. No, I love seeing that, and I wanted to give a shout out there. So
that's awesome.
Roddy Caps. Nah, dog. Yeah. All right.
All right, what else we got? Come on, Gary.
All right,
Get late.
one more matchup so we can get Joe to bed on time.
Joe
Okay, go.
Joe about to be mad. Hey, Joe, congratulations, my man. I love you. I'm so happy for you. You freaking she bid low, man. She bid low on you.
That's
you
true.
Are completely,
That's true. She's looking at me
you are
right now wondering what's
completely-
going on.
You are completely out of your element with this one. But keep her, man. Treat her
yes,
well. Love you,
I
my
have
man.
tricked her. I have tricked her quite well.
Yeah.
Let's go to this next match.
I'm waiting for
right.
my invite. I'm waiting for my invite, though.
Next matchup. This is the one. This is the big one. This is the one we have to discuss. And just, it's good to have Doc here for some analysis as well. And Joe Galli, I'd love to see what either of you guys think on this one, because NWA World's Heavyweight Championship is on the line, and it is now a triple threat match. It looks like Tyrus, Trevor Murdoch, Matt Cardona, all going for the ultimate goal in professional wrestling. This is a big deal. And Joe, actually, if you don't mind, I do want to take just 1 minute, because this, as long as this clip is, you had a chance to talk to Trevor on NWA Power.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an empty NWA arena. I am standing by with Trevor Murdoch, your world's heavyweight champion. And Trevor, I asked you for this very special, kind of intimate interview before the fans come in, because I got some tough questions for you. The internet is abuzz. We hear about it all the time from Tyrus, Matt Cardona. Everybody is gunning for Sweet Charlotte. They want to take you on at Hard Times in New Orleans. What are your thoughts?
To be honest with you, Joe, I don't care who you put in front of me. Matt Cardona, Tyrus, both of them, I don't care. When I step into Hard Times, I'm going to walk out as NWA World's Heavyweight Champion.
I find it so interesting, because you have to be thinking about this all the time. Every time in both of your reigns as champion, you've just been stabbed in the back. People are always sneaking around. They're attacking you whenever your back's turned. You really don't have a preference about who you would rather face at Hard Times in New Orleans?
Not at all, Joe. They're all enemies to me. They all want to take what I have.
Words of a fighting champion.
All right, so there you go. Big matchup. Trevor Murdoch does not care who is in the ring opposite of him. Tyrus, Matt Cardona, both of them at the same time. Trevor Murdoch is ready for a fight. And I don't know, guys. It's just this feels like a huge matchup, but I still feel strongly about Trevor Murdoch in this situation.
Yeah.
It's going to be an uphill battle for sure. I think you're running into a lot of different factors here. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the crowd dynamic's going to be. Maddenville, Louisiana is a stone's throw away from New Orleans. Tyrus was basically, named like the king of New Orleans from the fraternity group that he's affiliated with down there. He's very popular, and I'm sure he's going to bring a lot of fans, and there are going to be a lot of people cheering for him. Maybe a lot more than what we saw in St. Louis. At the same point, personal feelings aside from anybody that might be, about what Matt Cardona did to initially become champion, Matt has this massive fan base, because he's wrestling everywhere. He's got all these different belts. A lot of people love his story of coming from where he was and to getting to where he is today. So it also kind of makes it feel like, the person that might get the lowest level of applause going into that main event might be Trevor Murdoch, which I think is pretty unusual when you're the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. But at that same point, I don't know if it's really going to matter. I think Trevor Murdoch is in a mindset right now. He is completely solidified. He knows exactly what he's looking at. He knows exactly what his goals are, and he knows how to work towards those goals. And that goal is to retain the championship and to continue holding on to the 10 pounds of gold, which is why, I know, Doc, you're going to put my feet to the fire. I'm not going to say it's a 33 1/3 split as to who's going to win this match. But I'm just going to say right now, after that conversation that I've had with Trevor and the conversations I've had with everybody, I think when all is said and done in New Orleans, what we're going to hear is "and still."
Yeah. Yeah, and I gotta applaud you, Joe. I've always said this: you are the best. You are the best analyst. You are the best newsman in the game right now in professional wrestling. And you get the best comments. You get the best interviews. You get these athletes. I mean, you know how to break them down bare bones and to get to the heart of the matter. And I love that interview that you just gave with Trevor Murdoch. It was short. It was straight to the point, and it was right on the freaking right to the guttural, man. I mean,
yeah,
you nailed it. And I agree with you 100%. I think Tyrus is a very dangerous man. He's very, very dangerous right now. I mean, he what he said, give up the thing you love for to get the thing you want. I believe that. I feel it in my bones. I feel it. Matt Cardona, no denying his talent, no denying his ability. I don't care about his millions and millions of social media followers. That does not matter. When you're in the ring with Trevor Murdoch, you are in the ring with the most dangerous man in the world. There's nobody in the world right now that can beat Trevor Murdoch. Nobody. He is the gosh, I hate to say it. He is the best wrestler in the world today, Trevor Murdoch. And ain't nobody taking that title from him for a long, long time. I'm not saying 1,044 days now. I'm not saying that. But maybe 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, Doc, it's good to hear you give the praise to Trevor Murdoch. I mean, I feel like every argument that you had during Trevor Murdoch's first title reign, Trevor has adjusted for. So I'm not necessarily, everything.
What do we say? What do we say? He's too nice. He's preoccupied with this and that. He's bewildered. All those things that characterized his first reign, and no shade on his first reign. He was the world's heavyweight champion during his first reign. You know what I'm saying? But there was a stigma about that reign. And I think we can all feel that. That is not there right now. Right now, we see a killer in the ring. We see freaking Jeffrey Dahmer right now in the ring, devouring opponents. It's going to happen for a while.
Those are strong words.
It's going to be a lot to eat in a triple threat match. Just saying, there's two people you have to eat now.
I wanted to run with this seriously, but I couldn't help but laugh for a minute. This turn I didn't expect.
We talk a lot about Tyrus. You talk a lot about Tyrus giving up what he loves the most, and obviously that's a lot of motivation. You also can't forget the fact that Matt Cardona, he was not pinned. He did not submit to lose that championship, had to give it up for injury. And that's
but he didn't really win it either. He didn't really win it either, though, Joe.
You could argue that as well.
Yeah, I will. That's the argument I'm going to make. He's a poos.
Ooh.
He's an imposter.
I will say this. I mean, Matt Cardona, for the same thing that you're talking about, that same kind of negativity you're throwing his way, that's the same kind of thing he faces every single day of the week.
Joe just walked off. My bad, Joe. I'm sorry, Joe.
It's just, the seasons have changed.
It got dark where Joe is.
Normally I have the sun.
It got dark in Texas like in the last 3 minutes.
It just got dark.
It just got dark in 3 minutes, man.
Well, damn, I've never had to do that before.
What I try to do is when I look at and try to analyze the NWA, I'm with you, Doc. Like when you were back there talking about Odinson, I mean, he's a killer. He wouldn't be in the NWA if he wasn't. Right. Like everybody in the NWA is tough. Everybody in the NWA is a badass. Like you do not screw with the wrestlers in the National Wrestling Alliance. That said, I mean, like Cardona, he's got a battle he deals with. He choosing to put himself out there every single day in social media land, and he fights against these negative comments. People saying the things that you're saying, like that he's just a poser. He's just he's politicking and that sort of thing. I'm saying the guy is a former world's heavyweight champion. You don't get that by not working. Like you go in there and you make it happen. He fought Trevor Murdoch and he caught Trevor Murdoch exactly where he needed to catch it. Say what you will about Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona had a game plan. He executed it and he won the world's heavyweight championship.
You've
So,
always been a
that out
fan
of
of
the way.
subterfuge, Gary. You've always been a fan of subterfuge. And I saw your interview. I
You're
saw you.
Nick
I
Aldis's
saw you.
#1 fan. What are you talking about?
And I just said 2 minutes ago that Trevor Murdoch is the best wrestler in the world, Gary. You heard me say it.
I did.
It hurt me to say
I'm
it.
still with you.
Right
I said
now-
at the beginning,
right
I think
now,
Trevor
today,
Murdoch is going to win.
On
He's gonna
November
retain.
12th, on this day, Nick Aldis can't beat Trevor Murdoch today because Trevor Murdoch's mind is in the game.
Whoa, wait. Can we get
That's what
with
I
that?
just said.
You just said Nick Aldis can't beat Trevor Murdoch?
Not today. Give it a couple
Like
of weeks.
literally this day? Or
Wow.
what are you?
Don't try to spin what I said. What I'm saying is that Trevor Murdoch is the best wrestler in the world alive on planet Earth right now. That's what I said. That's what I said.
This is why I miss Doc being on the show. This is fun.
I know.
I've always been objective. My favorite wrestler, the greatest wrestler of the modern era is Nick Aldis. But right now, today, what day is today? We're looking at October the 10th, 1 day away from the Braves taking game 1 of the NLDS. Right now, Trevor Murdoch is the best wrestler in the world.
How
No
about
one
Eric
can beat
Dale
him.
here? I love this comment. First reign, Trevor is living his dream. Second reign, Trevor is everyone's nightmare.
That's it.
I'm going to
That's
steal
my
that,
point.
Eric. I'm stealing
That's
that.
my
Eric.
point,
Thank you.
Eric.
That's good.
That's my point.
That's really good.
You just encapsulated what I'm trying to say. Yeah, he's a nightmare right now.
Yeah,
He's a
no,
nightmare.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still with you. Like, I think Trevor Murdoch right now has nothing stands in his way. Once his music hits, he's there to kill somebody. Like, like he's a killer. He's a bully in the ring. He doesn't care what it takes. He's going to win the championship. He's not bathing in glory and like just happy with the fact that he got there and accomplished something that Harley Race accomplished. So Trevor Murdoch is the champion. He intends on staying the champion. He is the best wrestler in the business today as the world's heavyweight champion of the NWA. That's how I feel about Trevor Murdoch. And it's going to take somebody with a lot more hunger and a lot more something to be able to pry that thing out of his hands. And I know that Tyrus feels he's got it, and Tyrus may well have it. Tyrus is a big, bad mother. But, I don't know. I don't know if the mind games of Matt Cardona. All I was saying about Matt Cardona is the guy's done it once. I don't want to completely discount the guy. He obviously is a smart player in this game. But
he's done it. He's done it once, quote unquote. But it's not going to be Matt Cardona Matt Cardonia or Tyrus that takes the strap from Trevor Murdoch. Trevor Murdoch's going to hold this belt for a long, long time. But the next man to hold this belt, I don't even want to get into that. We're not going there. We're not going there. You tried, Joe. You tried, but we're not going there.
That's okay. We don't need to go there because I feel like if we keep going, the sun will rise. Here in Texas.
I think Joe's right. We do have to get out of here. This has been a lot of fun. I love this, and I love that the chat's been so engaged. Thank you guys for all your comments. I'm sorry I'm not even getting to highlight them all. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for Doc to show it back up. I know everybody missed Doc, and it's good to have him. And again, thank you for all of this. Please share it with your friends. YouTube.com/NWA Extra. Make sure you do that. And these people need to know this. We have guests every single week right now. We're also on Twitch, twitch.tv/thisisthenwa. You had Kylan King here answering all of your questions. You need to share this out with people on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Tell them about it. Tell them to show up on Monday nights. This is where the fun happens. You get to interact with all your favorite stars of professional wrestling. This is good. I just see like all these Doc comments in the chat. Look at this. Just so like, have you been to the new Buc-ee's? I don't know.
I do love their candied pecans.
They got good garlic jerky, man.
Oh man, that is good stuff there.
The jerky is good stuff.
Beaver nuggets. Oh, yeah.
The people have spoken, and I didn't even throw this up on the thing, but just so we get it out there on Power this week, Dr. Tom Pritchard is going to be on commentary, so you got to tune in. Dr. Tom Pritchard, everybody, he's going to be there. I can't believe I missed that. I just wanted to make sure I hit that. That's 6:05 Fight TV make sure you hit that up. We've got everything in. Thank you so much for being here. We love you guys, and we'll be back next week with a brand new guest. And who knows, maybe Doc will pop back in randomly at some point too. So we love you guys, and until next week, you guys all enjoy your gravy. Yeah, enjoy that gravy cake.